Welcome to getting the best education at the best price. We know you're extremely busy, and so we want to thank you for taking the time to get this information. And we also want to congratulate you because we know that this information has helped tens of thousands of families reduce their out-of-pocket costs for their children's education. If your student is a freshman or a sophomore, I really want to congratulate you for starting early and not getting behind. The reality is college planning is a very sequential process, and the earlier you start, the more successful you're going to be. If you're watching this today and you're a junior or a senior, we're so glad that you didn't put it off any longer. The reality is you may be a little bit behind, but hopefully the information we share with you today will help you to catch up. As we begin the presentation, we want to make sure that you understand that effective college planning really has three key components. There's an academic component, a social, and a financial. We certainly don't want you to feel like we're trying to scare you, but the reality is the odds are against you. According to the Department of Education, over 50% of the students who start college drop out. In fact, the current graduation rate is only about 48%. Lack of funding is the primary cause for that. Changing schools and changing majors are also significant factors. The Department of Education also states that the average student takes 5.5 years currently to obtain their bachelor's degree. Now, we want to assure you that we can help. We have helped tens of thousands of families over the last 27 years, and 86% of our students graduate, and our students graduate on average in 4.5 years versus 5.5 years. So parents, ask yourself, if the only thing we were able to do is help your student get in and out of school a year earlier, what would that be worth to you? Now, there are two primary reasons that we've been so successful in helping families navigate this process. Number one is we've been doing it for 27 years. We started in 1993 and we've helped tens of thousands of families. We do this 365 days a year. Number two is we don't work with everyone. And at the end of today's information, your local certified college advisor can help determine if your student would qualify for our assistance. Now, students, I'm not saying that we only work with valedictorians and students who have a 4.0 GPA, but we do only work with students who are committed to getting their degree and who are taking care of business in the classroom. Just to give you a little more information about us, we are College Funding Solutions. We were founded in 1993 and incorporated in 1998. As I mentioned, we have helped tens of thousands of families prepare and pay for college. We've been nominated for the Better Business Bureau's Business of the Year Award on multiple occasions. Our executive director, Coy Howe, he's the noted author of Money for College, is regarded as an industry expert across the nation when it comes to college planning and college preparation. And he takes a very active role in the day-to-day interface with our clients. We want to make sure that parents and students understand that college is three things. First, it's essential. According to the U.S. Census, students with a high school diploma earn half as much over their lifetime on average as students who have a college degree. Even more, students who graduate with a degree from a Tier 1 college earn 8 times as much on average as someone who only has a high school diploma. And I'm sure you probably know individuals who are great at what they do. They have more on-the-job training and more experience than a lot of people, but because they don't have that college degree, they're stuck and they can't go any further in their career. The second thing that we want to make sure you understand is that college is expensive. Now, obviously, you know that, or you probably wouldn't be taking time out of your schedule to watch a presentation on college planning. But I want the local certified college advisor you're meeting with to take just a moment and go through some of the schools in your area and what those annual costs are. Now, parents, I understand that now you've had a chance to look at some of those numbers. Your pulse might be a little faster, your heart might be beating up into your throat, but understand the schools that cost more typically also have more money to play with. And that leads us into our last point, and that's that college is a business. And so we need to treat it like a business. Now, we're certainly not saying the colleges are the bad guys and that we're the good guys. That's not the case at all. The colleges are not the bad guys. But you do need to understand that college is a business. And the colleges are looking to attract the best students they can and get mom and dad to pay every nickel possible. The colleges are also looking for a good return on their investment. So keep in mind as we go through this information that when colleges give financial aid to students, they don't look at it as a gift. They look at it as an investment. And so if they invest in your child over the next 4 to 5 years, what might that return for them over the next 30 to 40 years as your child becomes a contributing alumni? And so it's because of that reason that those schools that have a higher sticker price also tend to give more in financial aid. They have more money to play with. And you can imagine that colleges are not afraid to invest in students from upper middle income and even affluent families because they know those students have a good chance of being affluent themselves and making nice contributing alumni. And so for the rest of our presentation, a lot of what we want to focus is how can we put you in a position to get the best offer from the school, but also to then even go back and potentially appeal the offer and ask for more money. Now, parents, I don't know if you knew you could even do that. I know when I went to undergrad, if I got $1,000 from the university that I attended, I just said thank you. If I got $5,000, I said thank you with a bigger grin. I had no idea that you could go back and appeal that offer and potentially get more money. And yet we do that thousands of times every year with a very high success rate. Parents and students, as we get into some of the specific strategies and techniques for college planning and college funding, I want to go through your keys to success. And the first is to have a complete understanding of the process. I mentioned earlier, but college planning is a highly sequential process, and some of the things that will happen in your freshman and sophomore year in high school will have a big impact on what you pay for college, not only academically, but financially. In fact, your base year starts January 1st of your sophomore year in high school and ends December 31st of your junior year. Some of the funding strategies that can reduce your costs are more effective if they're implemented prior to the base year or before the end of the base year. And that leads us to our second point, and that is starting early. If you only hear one thing from this presentation, I want you to know that financial aid is first come, first serve. And the earlier you start the process, the better. Now, I'd like to ask the local certified college advisor who's meeting with you to stop for just a moment and talk to your student about why college is important to them and what are some of the key reasons that they want to get their degree. Well, if you're like 99% of the college students that I meet with, the primary reason your student is interested in getting their degree is because of the type of job they'd like to have, the type of career, the type of security they'd like to have financially. And so if that's the number one reason our students are going to college, we believe effective career planning is an important part of the process. Now, I'm not going to lie to you and tell you that we have a crystal ball and that we can predict what your 17-year-old is going to do for the rest of their life. I'm certainly not doing what I thought I would be doing at 17 years old. But we can help them identify their interests, their abilities, and their values, and then match those up with the career clusters that would be the best fit for them. We have very sophisticated career planning software that we use to help our students do that. So first off, what are their interests? What do they like to do? What are their abilities? What are they naturally good at? What are their values? What's important to them? What's going to make them feel like they accomplished something at the end of the day? The other key to success is keeping your college enrollment options open. To be successful, we really need to help you find 5 or 6 colleges that would all be a great fit, so that no matter which one gives you the best financial aid offer, you know you can attend there with confidence that you'll be successful. One of the worst things you can do is to get tunnel vision and only apply to one college. Remember from earlier that college is a business, and if the college knows they don't have any competition, then what motivation do they have to give you financial aid? So I want to ask our local certified college advisor to spend just a moment finding out what's important to you in a school and what are some of the things that you're looking for. And maybe you haven't thought about that, and if that's the case, they can help you brainstorm. Well, in addition to the variables that you discussed, I would just like to share with you a couple of things that we encourage our students to look at when they're choosing colleges that might be a good fit. The first thing that we look at is what we call the yield. Now, the yield is the number of students who are offered admission that actually end up enrolling at that particular university. So let's just say, for example, that UCLA offered admission to 50,000 incoming freshmen for next year, and 25,000 actually ended up enrolling and attending the school. So we would know that their yield was about 50%. The reason we look at the yield is it can be a good indicator as to just how difficult the school is going to be to negotiate with when it comes time to asking for additional funding. As you can probably imagine, a school that has a higher yield is going to be tougher to negotiate with because they're attracting most of the students that they really want to enroll. Whereas a school that has a lower yield but a decent amount of money in their endowment funds is a school that's much more likely willing to offer more money to attract the students they really want. Another statistic that we look at to help students narrow down the best colleges for them is the student loan default rate. If you were considering two schools and their financial aid offers were similar, and one had a student loan default rate twice as high as the other, what would that be indicating? Well, one of two things. Either the students are graduating with more debt on average, or they're having a tougher time finding quality jobs upon graduation. And we previously said that the number one reason you're likely looking at college is because of the type of career you'd want, the type of job you'd like to have. Now, at the end of the day, the applicant is going to get the job, not the school, but certainly some colleges can put you in a more competitive position than others to get that job upon graduation. I'd like to spend the rest of the time talking about money for college because I know that's typically the number one concern parents have when they're watching this information. There are two types of funding out there for college students. The first one is gift aid, and that's what it sounds like. It's a gift. It's money that you don't have to repay. Now, there are a lot of names for that. They can call it a scholarship, a grant, an endowment, a tuition waiver, tuition reduction, etc. But the bottom line is it's a reduction in the sticker price from the school. The other type of funding is self-help aid. Now, self-help aid is money that you either work for in the form of campus employment, or it's money that you have to pay back, either in the form of a student loan or a parent loan. Now, there are three sources for financial aid. There's the government. That's certainly the federal government, and some state governments have programs as well. The colleges, and then the private sector. And what I want to do is break these three funding sources down for you and show you how you can succeed in each one. First, let's talk about the federal government. Before you're eligible for any federal funding, including federal student loans, you have to complete a form called the FAFSA. The FAFSA stands for Free Application for Federal Student Aid. Now, parents, I'm not trying to scare you with the FAFSA. Millions of families file their own FAFSA online every year. But I will tell you that according to the Department of Education, they estimate 75% of the filed FAFSAs have errors. Now, that error might be inconsequential, or it might be an error that could cost you thousands of dollars in financial aid. For the families that we assist, you'll know that your FAFSA is accurate the first time. The reason for that is we will provide you with a line-by-line answer key that you can use to file your FAFSA. The second reason we help our clients with the FAFSA is because I don't know if you would procrastinate, but I can guarantee you that we won't. The first day you're eligible to file your FAFSA is October 1st of your student's senior year. And we can assure you that your answer key will be ready so that you can file October 1st. The third and final reason that we help families with the FAFSA is because there are dozens of strategies behind the form that can have an impact on your financial aid eligibility. Just go through a couple of examples of families who filed their FAFSA on their own, and then we started working with them, helping a younger student in the family. They asked us to evaluate their FAFSA, and we noticed that they had made some errors. So we helped them amend it, we refiled it, and you'll see the difference that that made. So you can see from those examples that having someone on your side who knows the ins and outs of the form can have a significant impact on the results. Now, I recognize that some of you might be sitting here thinking, we're not going to get government assistance, so why would we take the time to fill out a government form? Well, again, I want to remind you that college is a business. And if we want to entice the school to give you some of their money, we need to show them that you won't get any of the government's funding. So it's important that whether you're low income, middle income, above middle income, or even an affluent family, to go through the steps and make sure that your FAFSA is filed and that it's accurate. Now that we've talked about the government money, let's talk about money from the college or university. Now, the first key to getting money from the college or university is to make sure that you are as attractive as possible, students. And I don't mean your hair and makeup. What I mean by that is they are looking for students who are taking care of business in the classroom. Now, again, you don't have to be the valedictorian, you don't have to have a 4.0, but you do have to take care of business in the classroom. The colleges are looking for active participants. They're looking for students who are going to make an impact not only on campus, but after they graduate. So it's important that you do the best that you can in every area of your academics. The other key to success is to keep your options open. Again, remember, you don't want to get tunnel vision and only apply to one school. Now, it's okay to have a favorite. We just don't want them to know that. Then lastly, it's important to evaluate the award letters that you get from the colleges to see if they're giving you a fair shake. See, the reality is the school knows that you really don't have any idea how the offer they give you stacks up. It's tempting for parents to compare an offer from one school to an offer from another school. But the reality is that's not comparing apples to apples. What you have to do is compare the offer from one school to another offer from that school to a family that's in a similar financial situation as yourself and a student that has similar academic credentials. For about 90% of the colleges in the country, we can tell you what their average offer has been for other families that are similar to yours. So that gives us a big leg up on evaluating the award letters. So as you can see, parents, evaluating the award letters and knowing what to look for can have a significant impact on what you have to pay out of pocket. Now that's going to bring us to our last source of financial aid, and that's the private sector. Now the good news about the private sector is it's all free. Scholarships don't have to be repaid. So scholarships from your local Elks Club, the local Key Club, the local newspaper, Coca-Cola, etc. Those private sector scholarships are fantastic. That's the good news. The bad news is it only accounts for 3% of the total financial aid offered each year. So we don't think it makes a lot of sense to spend 80% of your time going after 3% of the money. Now we want you to work the private sector, but we're going to help your student work it smarter, not harder. The other piece of bad news is that often the private sector scholarship money helps the college more than it helps you. And I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. Let's say your student gets accepted to a local university and the university offers $10,000 in financial aid, in gift aid. And so you're excited, your student's excited, and then a month later, they win $1,000 from the local Kiwanis Club. Well, they have to report that to the financial aid office of the university, and in most cases, the university will then go back and take that $10,000 offer they made to you and reduce it to $9,000. So it ends up helping the school more than it helps you. Now, when that happens to a family that we're working with, we show the family how to go back and appeal that with the university so that if they're going to take the money away, they're going to take it off of the loan side of the offer instead of off of the gift aid. Well, parents and students, I know I've thrown a lot of information at you in a relatively short amount of time. And so what I'd like to do now is just review with you the various services and benefits that we provide for families who are looking for help and for those who qualify for our assistance. We've got the career planning and guidance to help your student find the right major. We've got college search and selection assistance to help them match up with the schools that would really be the best fit. We have admissions counseling to help them have a better, stronger admission application. We do campus visit counseling, where we'll teach you the best times of the year to go, the times of the year you should avoid, who should you interview while you're there, what types of questions should you ask. We also provide unlimited access to PSAT, SAT, and ACT test prep software that's been raising our students' points on average about 180 points on the SAT and 2 points on the ACT. We also provide professional assistance with the financial aid applications. I mentioned the line-by-line answer sheet for your FAFSA. Some of you will be applying to colleges that also require the CSS profile, which is another financial aid form. We would give you a line-by-line answer sheet for that as well. We would do the award letter evaluations and appeals, the private sector scholarship assistance, hands-on guidance and support, and answers you can trust. And I just want to remind you that we have over 2 decades of experience and tens of thousands of families who have benefited from this information. We want to be an advocate for you. Again, college is a business. It's big business. It's also our business. Your local certified college advisor will now go through some qualification questions to see if you would be a good fit for the program. If we realistically don't think we can help you, we'll let you know. He'll also go through the fee structure so that you can make a determination if you would like our assistance or not. I certainly want to thank you for taking the time to watch this presentation. I wish you the best of luck and look forward to working with you and helping your student get the best education at the best price.